right? And I want to be completely candid with you guys. The very first thing I want to talk about is how I've essentially 3x my life by only giving 50% of the effort. I'm going to say that again. I've been giving about 50% effort and I've increased my life 3x in a lot of different areas. I'm talking about digital footprint, social media, income. I took my income from 35,000 to over 100K. And I've been in the gym, right? Not lately because I actually just recovered from the flu, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But the point I'm making is I realized that I've accomplished some good things, yes. And it's not like I've been completely lazy, but I have not been living up to my full potential. And quite frankly, I am extremely embarrassed by that. Now, let's kind of look at this. Let's kind of look at this picture that I'm talking about. So the picture that I got here, bottom of the screen, right? Over, other way, over here. If you look at the glass is showing half full and half empty. Now, what does that mean? My interpretation of it, you can look at this two different ways. Now, at times, you may hear me talk about myself and it's going to seem a little hyperbolic. It might seem like I'm being too hard on myself, but I know me and I know what I do behind closed doors. Championships are not won in the game. Championships are won in practice. It's the things you do behind the scenes. And the great thing about what I'm saying is, I want you to catch what I'm saying. You know what you do on a day in and day out basis. You know if you're doing what you're supposed to do and what, more importantly, what you promised yourself you was going to do. Let's take everybody else out of this. I'm talking about you just looking in the mirror. And what I've done over the past few days, really since last week, I've been sick all week. I had the flu slash COVID the entire week. I've been bedridden. I haven't been able to get a lot done. But what one thing that I did do was I was able to think about what kind of like self-evaluate. So I've been self-evaluating and I was like, man, why am I not feeling truly fulfilled? Why do I feel like I'm leaving a lot of things on the table? And it's because I know that in certain portions of my life, I've only been given 50% effort. Full stop. I'm being completely candid with you guys. And I'm going to touch on what I came up with and why I think I did that, why I believe I've been doing that a little later in the video. But I think that's important for me to be real. Now, what does that mean? How can I want you to think about it for a second? How can I triple my income? At one point in time, I was working at Walmart. I was working in the meat department. I touched on this in a couple other videos. I was working a 4 a.m. shift to 1 p.m. shift. I would get off there. I would then go work at Carvana. When I worked at Carvana, that was part time, and then on the weekends, I would work at. I was actually doing DoorDash, and then I tried to pick up a third job that really didn't work. But essentially, I was working 2 or 3 jobs at a time. We had lost everything. I lost my jobs, got evicted from the home, cars got repossessed, credit score in the low 400s, marriage on the verge of being ruined, all that, right? And obviously at that time, my confidence was super low. So obviously, I didn't give 50% effort. There's no way you can give 50% effort and then go from 30,000 to six figures. But what I'm talking about more specifically is the day-to-day things that I knew I had to do in terms of my self-discipline, in terms of doing the things that I know that I need to in order to be successful. I would go days to where I would like I'll be on 2 or 3 days, super motivated, handling everything, and then I'll take a day off. I'll go like half the day and I'm really focused and shit, and then I get distracted. So what I mean by giving 50% effort is that during those times and during those lows to where I would get distracted, I didn't have enough strength and focus and commitment in order to break myself out of that cycle. So the truth of the matter is I should be at multiple six figures at this time, not just one. Hold on 1 second. Let me take a little sip of water. 1 second. I'm still recovering. Hold up. So, as a matter of fact, hold up. I got a couple of notes. Where's my notebook? Let me get my notebook real quick. Cause I got a couple of notes. And I want to be able to share what I've discovered, right? So, um, we kind of talked about being able to take my income up. That's cool. That's cute, right? But at the same time, the tech company that I'm with right now, they offer to pay for certifications. They have tuition reimbursement and stuff. And I've been there for a year and I haven't yet taken full advantage of that. I'll talk to the people, I set up an appointment or something like that. But what I noticed is I get kind of like halfway towards accomplishing that thing. And then for whatever reason, I won't completely follow through with it. Right. So I started thinking like, man, like over the last couple of days, as I really couldn't do much else, I started thinking about why is that the case? Like, why am I only giving 50% effort, especially when it comes to habits, scheduling, time blocking, focus, commitment, self-discipline, the gym, even though you guys been seeing I've been doing a great job going to the gym. I took myself from I was 144 pounds soaking wet, right? Like, less than a year ago. Right now I'm at like 160, 163, give or take, depending on, weight fluctuates. But if I'm able to gain 15 pounds of like muscle and I'm still under, single digit body fat, like imagine how much farther I would be if I was eating the right way, if I was getting enough rest, if I was taking certain supplements and stuff. Like, imagine if I was taking advantage of those certifications, if I was back in college, like I said I was going to do, right? If I was networking properly, how could you explain me? And this is where it gets scary. How can you explain when I started off on LinkedIn, for example, I had less than 200 connections. And to be candid with you, those 200 connections, I didn't even really know those people like that. They was kind enough to add me as a connection to give me access to their network, but I didn't really know those people. So I had no contacts, no real connections on LinkedIn. How how else could you explain me being able to take that to over 1,000 connections and real people that can actually be influential in my life and can help me get to the next level? And I'm helping other people tap into different opportunities and stuff. How can you explain that other than fear?